All right.
All right, let's get started.
We ready, Mr. Producer? He's the boss.
Everything is recording. So, what is good, everybody? This is G'd Up University. We have a very special guest today, Milagro.
Yo, what's good? Milagro Jones in the building, a.k.a. Daddy Milagro. You dig what I'm saying? From Skid Row to South L.A., from South L.A. to East Hollywood, from East Hollywood to Mar Vista, and now I'm here at UCLA. You dig? Climbing on up.
There we go.
There we go. So, let's talk about how we met. And so, fortunately, Gustavo Tapetla is the principal producer here at the UCLA Learning Centers, and we have the fortunate blessing of being able to be connected with you through him. And so tell us a little bit about how you came across him, and then eventually what he said that eventually got us all connected.
So I already knew before I even got here that I'm going to take hip-hop, take the music, take the streets, take the culture, and then bridge a gap with that. Didn't know exactly which way, but I know I'm gonna bridge a gap with that. Right. So when I came here, I hit the ground running. Like, I'm finding the professors that teach hip hop or affiliated with hip hop. I'm finding the students that rock with hip hop. I'm talking about the old head students that rock with the old school hip hop, the young students that's putting me on artists I never heard of, everything. And so when I came to Bro just already thinking about hip hop, talking about hip hop, and we instantly connected. Like, Gustavo know people from back in the day. He know graffiti artists. He know MCs. He know everything. So we instantly connected. And what I like the best is usually I'm the one talking and breaking stuff down to people. I'm explaining backstories. I'm breaking stuff down. I'm telling them how it is. But when I was talking to him, he breaking it down to me. Like, he giving me the rundown. He giving me stuff I never heard about, I never even seen. And he teaching me and imparted knowledge to me, or as he call it, building. So we was just building. And then it went from there. Like, every time I see him, I already know we finna break something new down. We finna build. And so it's like, whatever he see in me, you know, he sees something in y'all. He want to connect minds, so he put us in a connection. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Wait, interjection. What did you learn new from him?
For sure. So the first time we met, he was breaking down the knowledge of self, and like that. It was a lot about race and like culture and history, and like how we more than what we perceive to be. So maybe what I might think, like, I'm be honest, what I think of myself, how I look at myself like I'm a nigga from the streets, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how I see myself, to be honest. That's how I was raised. That's how I've been treated. That's what I seen. That's what I know.
Right.
I went to juvie at a young age. I went to jail. I went to prison. I got my GED in prison. That's what I was coming from. So talking to him, he was just giving me more insight, more, I wouldn't say spiritual. It is kind of spiritual, but more like legacy, lineage. This is who you really are. This is where you really come from. Did you know that this is what this means? And this, you know what I'm saying? Breaking it down.
Passing that wisdom, building you up, reminding you who you are.
So
that's good.
So shout out to figures like Gustavo Tapetla that come from the streets, that come from places like Los Angeles. Shout out to mentors of color that are able to provide that guidance and that blessing for people like yourself, for you to blossom, because you are a rose from the concrete. Let me give you your flowers right now before we forget. You are the rose from the concrete. So we're very blessed to have you. Blessed to have people like Gustavo with us to provide that guidance. And I want to take us back to when we all met, because it was very brief, but it was some deep conversations going, and I felt and seen the synergy between you two, because both of you have very interesting, very extraordinary stories. And so maybe if one of y'all can start us off with that, and then we could feed off each other.
So, I mean, I remember the first thing I saw was when he showed me your Instagram, right? And I was like, oh, he was at the reparations thing. I basically testified at that. And so then, like, I was like, oh, okay, he's with it. You know, he kind of knows what's going on. And then just hearing your story, like being homeless, that's like some parallels for me. Prior to coming to UCLA, I was homeless too. So, like, I just felt like it was just an instant, like, connection, right? Like, just understanding, like, in our lives, like, things happen and, you know, shit happens. Like, you got to kind of overcome it. And so just, like, getting that perspective from someone that's, like, younger, right? And how they had to overcome a lot of stuff. Like, it kind of, like, re-energized me and reminded me, like, why this work is so important, right? Working in this space for everything that matters. So that's how I remember, like, us starting out, like, with the Instagram and looking at that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, my Insta, it's like it's just, for me, I would say it's like how, like, an artist have like a canvas. So it's like a gallery. It's like an art gallery. It don't really show who I really am or what's really going on, but that's my artistic rendition of what I'm going through to the world. So if I could be depressed one day, I might throw up I might just start posting about the weekend on my story or something like that. And that's not gonna really tell you what I'm going through, but it's gonna tell you that's what's on my mind. So I can directly, like in this format, I feel like this is a format where you can really tell your story. It's like writing a memoir. You can tell people whatever you want and break it down. Whereas with an Insta or something like that, you really just giving a mask. It's a nice, and that's nothing wrong with that. Like I think a lot of different cultures have ceremonial masks. They have masks for different reasons. So Insta is like a mask. Right. And within that, it is times you can be real. Like you could pull back the curtain. So like the reparations thing, that was unedited. That's literally just me recording exactly what's happening. Some people was like, nah, man, you shouldn't be doing that here. You know, you're not with the media, all that. And it's like, nah, you know, I am the media today.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my media. Like, I have a phone and I have an app, and that's all you need to be the media right now in this world. So I feel like that's important that I do show my real side sometimes, because if all you seen on my Insta was just rah, you know what I'm saying? You would be like, what is he on? He fooling. But you seen the real. So it is good to get that side too. So like, I feel like it's a balance. It's always a balance, you know what I'm saying?
Do you find it like difficult balancing it out sometimes though? Like trying to like, how much do you disclose of yourself, and then how much of it is the mask that you put on? Do you find it difficult sometimes?
Yeah, like I'm real like instinct. I go by my heart. So sometimes I feel like sometimes I'll introduce myself, and people could have been wanted to work on something with me, but they'll be pushed back like, no, I'm not trying to rock with bro because he just admitted he been to prison. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to happen before somebody was about to rock with me on the project, and he turned all the way around. He was scared off by that. But at the same time, I know maybe that's not the right person to work with me. Right. So did I imbalance that? Maybe. Or maybe the balance was perfect, and I actually pushed someone out of my life that ain't supposed to be in my life anyways. So I feel like I go by instinct. I go by my vibes. I go by what I learned in the streets. It's situations I had to survive where I knew someone gunning for me, and I got to be smart enough to always be a step ahead of them, like chess, but with life and death consequences. So I feel like I just go off my mind. I go off the feeling I get, and that's going to lead me in the right direction. And I'm still here where a lot of my homies are not. So something must be working. It must be on point.
So getting to that, like, what would you say is the biggest difference from when you're like in the street hustling and going through the adversities you have to overcome to where you are now and where you feel like you're getting ready to roll?
Yeah. So I would say the streets are calling every day. It is an identity crisis to not be in the streets or to be affiliated with the streets. I made a decision. I made a choice, and I had to stick with that and see that through. But I would say it is painful. It's like a daily loss. It's like a sense of being an imposter at all times, because I'm out of my natural environment. I'm out of my habitat, and I'm in a space where I don't even know the lingo. I don't even know how to, you know what I'm saying, carry on what's their version of what you're supposed to do. So am I going to assimilate? No. Am I code switching like everyone tell me to? No. But what I am doing is I'm being intelligent enough to be honest about what I'm missing and how to get it. I'll give you an example. It's a program called Peers, P-E-R-S. And it's like a program where they get you like a person that supports you, and you and that person sit in these classes and learn social interactions, things about this type of environment to how to be successful here. Kind of like, I would say, how people say soft skills, but interpersonal, not on the work level, just on interpersonal level, social level. And by doing that, I feel like I can put myself in this environment, immerse myself, stay true to who I am, but figure out how to be me in my best ability here without overstepping certain boundaries here. Like I know if I'm in the hood and I want to holler at a shorty, I can say something crazy and get her attention, and that's cool, and that's the vibe. She on that, boom. Here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say it's a little grad student here, and I approach her or whatever. I gotta say something totally different. I gotta come a whole different route. Like, what I say could be taken totally out of context as something else. So it's like I do gotta retrain my mind in certain things and see the perspective different, because I am coming from an environment where it's different. It's all the way different. And I also feel like while I'm here, a lot of the times I'm just uncomfortable sometimes. Like I just feel like I don't fit in. It's not my space. And I need reminders. People remind me like, bro, you do belong. Take up your space. You did work hard to get here. You earned this. You're a part of UCLA. So it's like I need constant reminder, constant push, because a lot of times I be wanting to fall back and get it and like go back to what I know.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can relate to that. Like feeling like, man, do I deserve to be here? Like that's like a constant thing that I have to like remind myself, like, no, man, you worked super fucking hard to get here. Like it doesn't matter if you don't feel like you're smart enough today. Like you got here, so you got to keep pushing. And then I start thinking of the other aspects of it, like it's hella fucking expensive, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just, if you got those loans coming, like you can't just like back out. So there's just like that, trying to find that balance. But depression is real, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Like there's days that like I don't even want to get out of bed, and I mean I have everything in the world probably going for me. Everybody look at me and it's like, dude, like I wish I could be doing the stuff that you're doing, but it takes a toll, you know. Like sometimes being that person that's kind of leading it and trying to make these changes and being the first to do something like working on reparations, like it takes a lot out of you because you realize the importance of the work you're doing. You definitely don't want to disappoint anyone. You know everybody's watching you, but that means that they're also going to be looking at your mistakes. And the first time you're out there and you make one, like everybody's gunning for you. So I can definitely kind of relate to that in the aspect of even coming to school, like you feel like you're gonna mess up, or like you get one bad grade and like it's done, you know, like, and then that imposter syndrome really does kick in, like, oh shit, like do I belong here? Am I smart enough? Like what should I be doing? So, but nah, man, I'm just gonna remind you, you definitely belong here. Like fuck all that other talk. Like you got here. It's the #1 public university still. So
And you made it here.
and you shit, you got it, dog. So just yeah.
And I want to step aside from that fact because you both explained and talked about a very important topic. And, you know, what you described about imposter syndrome being a student and eventual graduate of color of, you know, a very elite institution. I wanted to, you know, provide a space, a community for folks like us, for folks black and brown, college students of color or aspiring college students that want to be in our positions and go to college, that we have a community here that have gone through very trying times, but it doesn't mean because you're not defined by your circumstances or your environment, and you have the ability to rise up, and we have support systems that you can reach out to that can help you out. And this is why what this platform is to provide that community. So I wanted to emphasize that. So I'm really grateful that we're able to have great and big voices like yourselves to be a part of this. And so I guess Milagro and, you know, also Elliot, I guess my question is, you know, being first generation, it's a very big step to just go cold turkey into this environment. And you talked about imposter syndrome, but yet both of you are still here. So I guess we could start with Milagro because, you know, we could transition into Elliot being somebody who's leading some very high-level research at UCLA. So, Milagro, how were you able to cope with all of these challenges, this just being able to adjust from where you started from and then come here to a place like, not just UCLA, but maybe even Los Angeles? Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that for us.
Yeah,
the journey.
So like me, like I came to LA from the ground up. So when I came here with $40, my 2 carry-on bags, and my 3-year-old daughter, and that's all I had. You got to understand, $40 can't even get you a motel to stay the night. So I had to take I had to take my money, go to that motel, and tell that person at the front desk, you're gonna let me and my daughter stay here tonight. And they like, no, we're not. You don't have enough for the deposit plus the room. Da 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 yada yada yada. Okay, well we got visible prostitution going on in your motel. We got drug sales going on in your motel. We got everything. You don't care. Don't act like you care. Like this a young man that's fleeing domestic violence and child abuse who got a baby in his arms and telling you, I need to stay here tonight. You had the resource to help me. So that's a lot of how I had to cope, is I got to go to people with resource and tell them you're going to give me your resource because the door's shut, the window's locked, and they're not letting me in. But I'm getting in. No matter what, I'm always getting in. So that's how I cope. I go to the door, I knock, I get the no, I knock again, I get the no, and I continue knocking until I get in the door. And so for me, LA, it was like a pitfall, a trap, a cesspool. I seen everything negative. I seen every type of temptation, every type of person try to knock me off my square that you can imagine. But I had a vision and I had a goal. I came here with a child, and my vision and my goal was to empower that child. I'm gonna give this child better opportunities. And by me working towards focus on helping that child, that's what opened up all the doors for me. So I didn't even hear of a UCLA before I came to LA. I knew about USC, but I had never heard of UCLA. That was the only university I knew of California. And I was in community college through a program where I'm supposed to just get a certificate for my kid and then be right back in the workforce. That's it. COVID happened. So when COVID happened, it's like, I can't get your certificate. They're not doing those classes. Okay, well, we ain't gonna just kick you out. You just take some other classes until they open back up. By the time it opened back up, I got some classes under my belt. And coincidentally, my homie Alfredo Gama, he like, yo, we doing the little tour at UCLA. And then he break it down. What is UCLA? Why that is better than the Cal States? Why is this tiered system in LA? Yeah. How it all work out? And we got to get these babies into this school, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do tours of the school. So I just went to help them. I'm chaperoning them so they could do it. And as I'm doing it, the underground scholars was the ones leading the tour. And come to find out, they been through stuff that I've been through. So I'm like, bro, you been through that, and you here? Like, you at a 4-year university? Like, not no rinky-dink, little college on the side. You at a really, and it's a big track, people running on the track. It's athletes going by. It's like we going in rooms with state-of-the-art computers and stuff. I'm like, this is where I need to be. Like, I'm supposed to be here, like, geeking up the kids, but it's starting to develop in my mind. I want to be here. You know what I'm saying? So from there, I got geeked up. Like, I had people like Alfredo Gama, who at the time was the president of the Central Alameda Neighborhood Council, and I was serving as their secretary. And I had people like the Underground Scholars, CCCP, just different programs with rare people that was telling me I could do it. But other than that, everyone was saying, no, you can't do it. All the homies in the hood was telling me I can't do it. All the people that I knew that was professionals would ridicule my idea of doing it and tell me why I'm going to fail and how, look where you got your GED and da-da-da-da-da, look how old you are, look at you a single parent, da-da-da-da-da, like just hating on me, putting me down. Like my counselors in community college would tell me, you just settle for a Cal State and you'll be lucky if you can get into there. Don't even waste your time applying to a UC. So I just had all that stuff that was trying to push me back. That helped propel me forward. Because now I'm like, what? You finna tell me I can't do this? I can do this. I'm going to prove to you I can do this. All of y'all told me I can't do this. So I just kept pushing. And it was days where I felt like, maybe they're right. Like maybe they're all the way right. I just need to stop. And I could just leave school, go to the streets, or leave school and work a trade and get faster money at one of those two options than sitting here going through this. And it was something just in the back of my mind, and those 2-3 supports pushing me. So when I got my acceptance letter, I went to all my haters.
Right.
I went to all my haters, and some of them was so surprised when I brought it to them. They didn't even believe me. They was like, I remember one counselor, I was like, yeah, I got into UCLA, and he was like, well, wait until you actually get accepted before you get accepted. I'm like, no, I'm in.
Yeah,
like,
you accepted, like, what you talking about?
Yeah, I'm in, bro. Like,
right.
So I just feel like, to me, it's like if you could dream it, you can actually achieve it in life. And I think a lot of it is in the mind. A lot of it is what you focus on, because when you put aside a lot of stuff and go for stuff, things will come towards you. You might only have 2-3 supporters that's behind you, but that 2-3 is better than nothing. And you should hold on to that and be thankful for that and keep striving for that. So for anyone that's not here already that wants to come here, that think they can't, you definitely can. I had poor GPA. I had low GPA. You know what I'm saying? I went to one school called the Art Institute, dropped out. I went to another school called Milwaukee Area Technical College, dropped out. Then I went to Los Angeles Trade Technical College. I had quarters where I had to drop the whole quarter. I had quarters where I got an F, you know what I'm saying? I had quarters where it was messed up, but I stayed focused and I stayed believing, and I'm here now. And anyone could come behind me and come through this door, because the door is open, and I'm going to do the research. That's my research that I'm focusing right now, is starting with the premise that gang literature is literature, that people from where I'm from have multiple literacies, that people where I'm from, they can manifest, that they are equal to a William Shakespeare, equal to a William Blake, better than Beowulf's English epic, you know what I'm saying? That Tupac's poetry is of just as much esteem as theirs, that the gang lit that they spit is just as poetic as anything they're doing. So for me, I feel like we are the future, but we are also the present. And like, it's professors that I didn't even know about till I came here. Like, it's a professor who was the professor of the Civil Rights Movement, Benjamin Mays. I didn't even know they had a professor of the Civil Rights Movement. He was Dr. King's professor. So there's been in the legacy. Like, it's been people like us in these type of situations. We just didn't know. Nobody told us. All they told us was who the biggest dope man was. Like, when I went to Trade Tech, you know what was excited to me the most to go to Trade Tech? The most exciting thing for me to go to Trade Tech is that is where Rick Ross, the drug dealer, not the rapper, that's where Rick Ross graduated when he got out of prison. I'm like, yo, that's where Rick Ross went. I might actually do this. You know what I'm saying? That's the homie. But it's like, once you get in those environments, you might be inspired by something that's negative like that and be thinking some negative thoughts. But once you get in that environment, you get around those positive people. Like at LATTC, I saw the film Homeless to Harvard. I seen a shorty eating out the garbage can some days, but she made it to Harvard. She opened her mind. She did something different. So it's like, if you can believe in it and believe in yourself and get your little support circle, you got it. You could come right in here and do big things. Like I'm in Mellon Mays undergraduate fellowship right now. You know what I'm saying? I got different little scholarships that's helping me out. It's doors opening every day. I'm rubbing shoulders with some of the best and brilliant in the world. So you know what I'm saying? You could do it. Real talk, 100.
So you mentioned briefly about your research, and you kind of went over some of your work. You mind explaining, I guess, to some folks out there who might be interested in similar opportunities, how you went about applying to that?
For sure. So I had this thing, like, for me where, like, I really am trying to prove something. So, like, when I was in middle school, I took a standardized test, right? And my school was very illiterate, and it had very low test scores, and I got one answer wrong on the test. So I basically got like a 99, whatever percentile I was in. They're like, no, you didn't get that. Your school doesn't get that. So it's like, you cheated. So I'm like, no, I didn't cheat. Okay, you didn't cheat. Your school cheated. My school, the people in my school, like, nah, we didn't cheat. So then it's like, okay, well, now we have to take you and put you in a room where there are people standing over you watching. You have to do this test again in front of us. And so I did the test, and then I got none wrong. I got a perfect score. So it's like, I told you, I'm not cheating. Then why your grades bad? Why you having all these issues and troubles and stuff? Well, you don't understand. My grades are bad. I'm going through all this stuff because when I leave school, I'm going to this gang that's on my block that's making me bare knuckle box on the side of this building every day. I'm dealing with, it's no food, and I got the key to the crib because there's no adult there. I just let myself in. I'm dealing with issues that you're not even thinking about or understanding. And since you realize that I am smart and that I'm failing, wouldn't you want to help me? Wouldn't you want to get me a social worker? Wouldn't you want to get me a case manager? Wouldn't you want to get me in a program? No, they didn't want to do nothing for me. They didn't want to help me in any way, shape, or form. So I always had to figure out the resources on my own. I had to do the research on my own. And so I feel like by the time I came here, I already been the best researcher. I got the PhD from the School of Hard Knocks. I'm already one of the most top-notch researchers in the world.
Right.
I'm up there with Henry Louis Gates. I'm up there with W.B. Du Bois, all of them. Just for me to survive the years I've been through my life, I already been the best researcher. But when I came here, I'm opening my mind to the fact that when I go to the Young Research Library and go down in the basement, do I even see one young person in that room? No, I see a bunch of old people doing research down there, and they uncomfortable to have me in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they uncomfortable to have me up in there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm feeling a little dated right now. It's not even cool.
Yo, they don't even want me up in there. You know what I'm saying? They're like, why is he in here? What is he doing? Like, it's an issue. But I feel like I gotta find all the opportunities. So when I came here, I found out what is the best research programs for undergraduates, and I applied to all of them. And I did the detailed research. So for me, I feel like when I talk to people that don't want to do research while they're here, no, I'm just going to get my bachelor's and leave and do this. I try to inspire them. No, you should. You might as well. You're here. This is a research institution. If you just wanted to get your degree and move on, you should have went to
that part.
Went to the Cal State, you know what I'm saying? But you came
Cal
here to do
State's
research. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
I'm
not
part
Cal
of the
State.
Cal State,
I'm
so.
just saying. Well, that's
Hey, this
And I ended up here.
This what the homies told me. The homies
Right,
told me
right.
they told me if you want to be a teacher, if you just want to teach like at
That's
the
what they said.
LAUSD, they told me like if you just want to be a teacher, go to
Cals.
go to the Cals. And I told them like I got a felony, so I'm not gonna try to become a teacher in a public school system because they don't even hire felons. In order for a felon to get hired, you got to get this special paperwork that's approved. You got to jump through all these hoops and stuff. And it's like they say we want more men of color in these public schools. We want more men of color to be mentors and inspire. But then the legislators are behind the scenes concocting laws to keep us from even being in a space. So you got the face telling us, oh, this is what we really want, but the brain is concocting ways to keep us out.
That's
so for
real
me,
talk.
I got to find the research opportunities. And what I found is it's few of them that are for people of color, or as they call us, underrepresented minorities here in the academia. Yeah. And what I found is like the one I'm in, Mellon Mays, the McNair, all the similar ones, when Trump was in office, come to find out the Department of Education and all his other cronies were actually setting up research to prove why we shouldn't have these programs. Yeah, to defund it. You shouldn't even have these programs. Y'all shouldn't even be allowed to do research. Like, research was for us. We're gonna make research white again too, not just the country. Like, right. So it's just for me, it's something personal. I have a bone to pick. I'm not just here to do research because I think research is gonna make me a rock star. It's gonna make me a lot of money or something. I'm here to do research because I have something personal. I know that W.B. Du Bois was one of the greatest researchers, and I know that he had a lot of enemies against what he was doing, and I know that people like him open those doors for people like me to come through. So now that I'm here, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm gonna find out the research programs. I'm gonna find out the professors who are aligned with what I'm trying to do, and I'm gonna be the real one. I'm gonna keep it real. And I could have been on a block instead, making more money faster and having more fun. You know what I'm saying? The classroom is boring. I could be out there on a block having fun. I could be riding whips right now. You know what I'm saying? Someone just tried to get me in a whip, but I was like, you know what? My L's is suspended, and I'm gonna take it slow, and I'm gonna follow the law, even when it means that I gotta be the clown. The other day I'm on a bus stop, this dude calling me schoolboy. I'm a grown man getting called schoolboy. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta swallow that. I gotta swallow that and be like, yep, I am. Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm happy to be here. I'm gonna put my backpack on and I'm gonna do this work. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter gonna look up to that. And one day I'm gonna watch her walk across the stage. I'm gonna watch her go to a university, and I'm gonna be proud to, you know what I'm saying, put those ones in those positions. So I feel like, to me, if you want to do research at a place like this, don't think you're just gonna come in and they're gonna help you to it. You're gonna have to look for it yourself. You're gonna have to want it yourself. You're gonna have to ask for it. You're gonna have to knock on those doors, do office hours with the professors. You're gonna have to hear the word no, no, no. You're gonna cold call emails that never get responded to. But if you believe in yourself and your vision and you're trying to put on, that's a way to put on. Like, when I tell people that I'm doing research at UCLA for gang literature, oh, they suddenly want to hear, why is gang literature? If I just told them straight up, gang literature is literature, they don't want to hear that.
Right, you got to explain to the whole methodology and all that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I do want to back up just a little bit, because I think this is a really important point to talk about, right? So walk us through the process of, like, having a felony, applying for, like, a university like UCLA, and what was your thought process? What helped? What didn't help? Those things.
For sure. So for me, I got a felony because I was taught a different thing of right and wrong. So when I was very young, I was exploited by a street gang who saw that I was a young person who didn't have a good family structure.
Right.
And I had a dysfunctional family, a lot of violence, and they basically told me, we'll be your family. We'll help you. We'll protect you. And what that really meant is, you're a juvenile, so we can get you to do crimes, and there'll be less of a charge on us to have you do it. So so I learned a very unstable, sick mindset of no snitching, stop snitching. If this man do something wrong, I'm going to take the charge for it, and I'm going to be locked up. So I spent a lot of my youth locked up for stuff I had nothing to do with. Like, a homie would catch a case, and I'd just sit there and do the time. And it happened to me over and over and over and over again through all my teenage years. So by the time I was 19, I was sitting in a jail cell getting ready to go to prison. And then in prison, I read a lot of books. You know what I'm saying? I read a whole bunch of books. And I opened my mind to the fact that even though I could have chose to not go to prison by telling on somebody, and I'm proud that I didn't tell on anybody and I did choose that instead, I would never preach that or teach that to anyone. I would never promote that or tell anyone that going into a gang is a positive thing or a good thing. That's a terrible thing. They mostly prey on children and youth and exploit them and get them to do crimes and to do bad to develop their own name and their own profile. I would tell people to be wise, be smart, and don't even get yourself involved in something like that. Right. So for me, having been involved, I decided, like, that's not going to slow me down. That's not going to stop me. I was homeless on the streets, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And people told me a felon can't get this job, a felon can't get that job. It's loopholes to all of that. You can get certain jobs. You just have to have certain people vouch for you or do certain paperwork. So for me, being a felon, it didn't hurt me in the academic realm. It helps me in the academic realm because I decided, since people say felon and it's a negative on them and it's like it turned them around, they don't get to do stuff, I decided to flip it and use me being a felon as a story, use it as something to inspire and explain, like, anything I apply for, I always am upfront that I have a felony, that this is what I went through, and that the fact that I have a felony, me being in your nonprofit is going to help in this way. Me being in your school is going to help in this way. People like me have been left out. I use it in a positive way to remind them of the reality that you have a system of mass incarceration, which they know that. They're a part of it. They feel guilty of it once you remind them of that reality, to remind them of all the youth like myself who didn't get those opportunities and who were left out in the cold, and to remind them that we got a prison cell and a yard and a chow hall while our peers got a classroom, a dormitory, a nice dining hall, a big track and field, a soccer field. They got peers and friends. They got to kiss the babies and help the old folks cross the street and be with their friends. And we sitting here worrying about getting shanked and worrying about who's gonna do this